Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So before we continue with the paper review today, I would like to make an announcement that we are having a new intake for students to join our math and math lesson. Okay, you will be taught directly by me in a small group class settings. Okay, so the mode of delivery is online. If you wish to know more about it, feel free to fill in the Google form below. So without further ado, let's get started with our lesson here. Oh, one more thing. So the class is for exam batch of 2024 and also 2025. So there will be slight changes in the syllabus for those who is planning to sit for 2025. So if you need my guidance, okay, feel free to join our lesson. So fill in the form and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Good luck. Let's get started. Okay, so the paper that we're going to review today is May-June 2023, set 11 here. Okay, I haven't go through the question, so we'll be going through it together here today. So let's have a look at the first question. Okay, we start off with being requested to solve completing the square here. Okay, slightly advanced version of it because there's a constant in front of the x squared. So the standard process of solving this will be extracting the 5 first. So 5, okay, 14 divided by 5 will be 14 over 5x, followed by 8 over 5. Okay, so do take note that once you're done with this step, your primary focus will be on these two values at the front. Okay, so brackets and all, okay, is required because you have to keep things organized here. So for me, I'm going to focus on the first two value. Okay, before that, I'm going to copy back the leftover, which is the 8 over 5 that I didn't highlight, and I leave a bracket square first. Okay, so time to fill in the brackets, then you'll be able to proceed to find your final answer. Okay, since you're structuring it into a bracket form, okay, the 14 over 5 here will now be divided by 2. Okay, this is a standard structure. Okay, so 14 over 5 again, and you're dividing it by 2 once again. So this is a little bit of a shortcut. Okay, if you wish to know more about the full context about how it is done, then I'll try to make a video in the future. So for now, if you're looking into this type of paper review, I hope that you already have some sort of foundation, okay, so that you can go through the questions with me. So part of the calculation can be done through your calculator. So for example, this one right here, I simplify it using the calculator, getting 7 over 5, 2, and for the balance at the back, it is 8 over 5 minus, okay, our 7 over 5 that was being squared. So I have negative 9 over 25. So lastly, this is the part that a lot of students do it wrongly, which is that you are required to multiply the 5 back into the brackets here. So there's two values, okay, please do not overlook that. Then you will end up with 5x minus 7 over 5 square minus 9 over 5 as your final results. Okay, so that's it for the first question. Your A will be 5, B will be negative 7 over 5, and C will be negative 9 over 5. Please take note that you don't have to state them out specifically, okay? Because they just ask you arrange in the form, but they didn't ask you for the specific value. Moving on to stationary points. Okay, for this, you must also know how you find the x coordinates. Okay, it is by copying out whatever that was inside the brackets of your completing the square. So when you readjust, you get 7 over 5 here, and your y value will actually be the constant that you have at the top. So your final answer for this question, or the stationary point, will actually be 7 over 5 negative 9 over 5 as your final answer. Okay, so for you to sketch out this quadratic graph, okay, there is a couple of rules that I set for my student. So the first thing first is to ignore the existence of the modulus line. Okay, all you need to do is to factorize this current value here by keying in your a as 5, b as negative 14, and c as 8. With it, you'll be able to find that your answer, okay, or your x value will now be 4 over 5 followed by 2. Okay, so this is the first thing, finding the x-intercept. Next thing is to check the square value here. So if our 5 turns out to be a positive, so your graph will be a smiley face. Okay, and the third thing that I'm gonna do will be finding the y-intercept of your existing equation here. So the y-intercept, okay, or the c in your y equals to mx plus c formula here will actually be a positive 8. So you can roughly sketch it out. It should look something like this. Okay, I'm gonna readjust it a little bit. Show that it is at 8. Okay. And time to label the information. So we do know that this is 8. We are touching at 4 over 5 and 2. Okay, and also one more thing. The stationary point told us that it is somewhere around here. Okay, this is actually your 7 over 5, negative 9 over 5. It is not necessary for you to label this out. Okay, I'm just putting in for your reference only. Okay, so here comes to take care of the modulus. Modulus means that all the y value that is negative is no longer accepted. So you see me putting a dotted line there, and I'm going to reflect that particular part to the top, forming answer looking like this. Okay, so again, I'm going to label out the turning point again for my own reference only. Okay, I'm so fixated on doing this is because usually they will ask you about solution next. Okay, let's see if there's a section D for this question. Apparently there is. Okay, and they ask us for 4 distinct roots. So please take note that what do they mean by distinct roots here is actually intersection. So what do they mean by intersection again? It is like when you draw a straight line, okay, or horizontal line here at y equals to maybe around 10, I guess. I'm just making a quick example here. So this is the part where you have 2 intersection, okay, or in this case they will label it as 2 distinct roots. So to fulfill the condition of it to become a 4 distinct roots, okay, so the answer is very likely landing right in between of this, which is our turning point, and it must be above the y equals to 0. Okay, anything between here to here will have 4 distinct roots. So this is the reason why they like to pair the question with completing the square. Okay, it will tells you the turning point, and then when they ask you about this, you have to write out the inequalities. So the inequalities now, I will label it as k must be more than 0, but lesser than. In our case here, oh, there's one thing that I did wrongly. The y coordinates will now be positive 9 over 5. Okay, So to test you further, they can ask you to write out the integers. Okay, what else can they do? To increase the score, they can also skip this section B here, okay, without the stationary point. Okay, they won't even mention about it because they want you to do it manually yourself. Okay, so this is a pretty standard question. Okay, appeared countless time in your past year. Okay, if this is the first time you encounter this, means you're not doing enough practice. Okay, or your teacher didn't go through all the possible types surrounding the functions topic. Okay, so moving on to the next part. Okay, again, a slightly easier topic, polynomials here. Okay, the two dots that you see right here stands for second derivative. Okay, so it means that you have to differentiate it twice. So I'm gonna differentiate it once first, and you should get 3ax squared, okay, because of transferring the power out to the front and reduces the power by 1 in that process. As for the other, it will be 14x followed by b. So when you double prime it, it becomes 6ax plus 14. Okay, so this will be my final answer here. There's no more x for the 14 because it's second derivative already. So they want us to substitute 1 over 2 into the x. And they told us that it is equals to 32. So 6a 1 over 2 plus 14 equals to 32. Try to run your calculation here. You should get 3a equals to 32 minus 14. You will get 18. And when you divide it by 3, you will get 6. So this is for the 2 marks in question 2a here. Moving on to part B, okay, there's a keyword called factor and a remainder of 7 when divided by a different set of values now. So to solve this, okay, you have to take note that the factor here must be equates to 0. You get 4 over 3. And the other hand, 4 plus 1 equals to 0. You will get x equals to -1. Okay, once you have this, for me, I have this habit right here to keep myself informed that if I'm substituting 4 over 3 into it, since it's a factor, there will be no remainder. But when I put in -1, I have a remainder of 7. So with this extra steps here, I can now proceed to write out my equation. It is 4 over 3 cubed plus 7 4 over 3 square plus b 4 over 3 plus c equals to 0. And on the other hand, again, you have a -1 cubed plus 7 -1 square plus b -1 plus c equals to 0. Okay, so here onwards, it will be your simultaneous and how you deal with fractions. One additional things that will change here will be the a, because we actually figured out that the a is actually 6. So this type of manual calculation should be done beforehand. Okay, so I have a 128 over 9 followed by 7 4 over 3 square. You will get 112 over 9 plus 4b3 plus c over 1 equals to 0. Why did I change the structure of the c is because I have OCD. I can't stand when the denominator is not the same. So I will do the extra step or go the extra mile to calculate these two things up first. Okay, or to simplify the whole thing in the process of here, multiplying by 3, multiplying by 3. I will end up with 12b plus 9c because our c here, it will be multiplied by 9. So with this step taken, you'll be able to come to a conclusion that 12b plus 9c will be equals to -240 as your first equation. Okay, so there's one thing that I noticed that I did wrongly here. Will actually be the remainder of 7. So I need to put a 7 here. Then only I proceed with my calculation, getting -6 plus 7 minus b plus c equals to 7. So C, if I make it as the subject, I will get a positive B. And then for the rest, it will be plus 6 over here. That's my equation 2. So I will substitute my number 2 into equation 1, where you will get 12b plus 9b plus 6 equals to -240. So 12b plus 9b plus 54, -240. So rearrange them. You will get 21b, -240 minus 54, you get -294. And with this results, when you divide it by 21, you will get b as -14. Okay, so when b equals to -14, sub into C. Okay, order number 2 here, C equals to -14 plus 6. That will result in -8. Okay, so this is the answer for A and B and C. All right, so it wasn't super hard, but if you did sort out the fraction earlier, then the whole process would be much simpler. Okay, moving on to section C, they want you to show it in this particular form. So in this case, I highly recommend student to update your equation first. Don't be lazy, copy it out. Okay, it is 6x cubed plus 7x squared. Then our b now is how much? B is -14x and then -8. So this is the updated equation. And they want us to factorize it. So we already were given the 3x minus 4. So I'm going to write 3x minus 4 here. 6x cubed plus 7x squared minus 14x minus 8. So the problem with this question right now here is you will have to divide it manually. So to arrive at 6x cubed, you're going to multiply with 2x squared first. Okay, and in this process, okay, do take note that there's an invisible bracket with a minus. So the 8 will actually be turns into +8. Okay, but all the brackets are negative, you cannot write it in. So 8 plus 7 is actually a 15x squared minus 14x. So to get to 15x squared, I need to multiply with 5x here. And again, because there's an invisible bracket with a negative, I end up with 6x minus 8, where all I need is a +2. Then you'll be able to get your final answer, or the QX quadratic here, as 2x squared plus 5x plus 2 as your final answer. Okay, so last one, they ask you to write it as a product of a linear factor and integers coefficient. So the keyword here is integer coefficient. Okay, so I'm gonna try to further factorize it first. That is to fulfill the linear factor that they requested. So all you need to key in is the 2, 5, and 2 again that you calculated previously. So you actually have x equals to -2. When you shift it to the back or the front, you get a +2 here, and then 2x plus 1. So do take note, this is the process that I didn't write it out. Okay, then it automatically formed the bracket. So same thing again, -1 over 2, 2x equals to -1, 2x plus 1 equals to 0. That's the bracket right here. So this is the 2, brackets that you're forming. Okay, so integer coefficients. Okay, they didn't put equals to 0 or ask you to solve, so there's no need to state out what's the x value that we are dealing with here. So this d here will be ended up like this three brackets, and that's it. Moving on to question 3, the point A and B have coordinates of 2, 5, 10, and -15. So the point P lies on the perpendicular bisector of line AB. So the keyword here is perpendicular bisector. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 plus 10 and divide it by 2. 5 plus -15 and divide it by 2 as well. So this is for the midpoint or the bisector here. So it turns out to be 6 and -5. Okay, this is for the midpoint. Okay, after that, I'm going to calculate the gradient. Gradient goes by y2 minus y1. So I assign this as y2. Here's y1. Gradient, okay, or the original gradient, -15 minus 5 over 10 minus 2, which you will get the gradient as -20 over 8. -20 over 8. You will get -5 over 2. So this is for the original gradient, okay, or gradient of AB. And if you wanted the perpendicular bisector gradient, it is m1 times m2 equals to -1. Okay, so the m2 here is the perpendicular bisector's gradient. So -1 will be divided by -5 over 2. That will result in 2 over 5. Okay, so with this, we can now construct the equation. So we have y equals to 2 over 5x plus c, and since we sub in the point 6, -5, you will get this following results here with c value of -5 minus 2 over 5 times 6. That is a -7 point. Y equals to 2 over 5x minus 7.4 times 2. Find the x coordinates of P sub in y equals to -9. And when you make it as the subject, it will be this divided by 2 over 5. So -9 plus 7.4, this results here divided with 2 over 5. So your x here will get a -4 as its x coordinates. Okay, so that's for your question A. Wow, a whopping 5 marks. Wasn't expecting this much. Okay, but it would be good overall. The point R is the reflection of P in the line AB. Find the coordinates of R now. Okay, so point P now is -4 and -9. Our midpoint is at 6, -5. Okay, so to trace this, you can actually use your vector or translation. So from -4 to get to 6, I think I went up by a total of 10 steps towards the right hand side, and I went up by 4 steps. Okay, why is it so? You can actually backtrack the results by having -4, -9 plus something, or the x and y here, and you ended up with 6, -5. So -4 plus x equals to 6. X is actually 10. So y is actually -5 plus 9. which is 4. That's how you trace the vector here. So for r, it will be from the point 6, -5 going through the same translation again. After 10, 4, I should get 16 and -1, or the coordinates of r is actually 16, -1. This is my final answer here for the 2 extra marks. Moving on to question 4, okay, we have a velocity time graph here, and they want us to find the value of v. So the good news is that since it's a velocity time graph, the area of it will be the distance traveled, and they gave us 800 here. Okay, so if that's the case, we pretty much have all the information that we need. So it can be break down into 3 separate parts. Okay, 1 triangle and 2 trapezium here. So the trapezium will have a top of 10, bottom of 20, and a height of 10. So half, okay, or top plus bottom. In this case, it will be 10 plus 20. And multiply with the height. So this is the first part, followed by 10 again. And here is v. So 10 plus v over 2 times 10. And lastly, we have the triangle here. This part is actually 15, and the height is v again. So half times v times 15. So this would total up and becomes 800. So apparently all of them share the denominator of 2. You can straight away reorganize everything up. So you have 30 times 10 for the first group, and a 10 plus v for the second, and then a 15v for the last. So 800 times 2 will be 1600. And then you have 300 plus 100 plus 10v plus 15v. Okay. You're one step away from the final answer now. So when you add everything up, it will be 400. 1600 minus 400 will be 1200. So 25v. 1200 divided by 25, your v is actually 48. For 2 marks, the workings definitely couldn't justify the amount of work that you went through here. Okay, so give and take. If you have other methods that you can think of, should be fine as long as it is using area's formula. Okay, moving on to the next part, they ask us about the acceleration of 35. 35 is somewhere around here. Okay, we don't have the information, but all we have, what we do have is the results here, which when we calculate the gradient, okay, gradient of velocity graph will actually be the acceleration here. So 30, 48, 30, 48, 45, and 0. Calculate your gradient. 0 minus 48, 45 minus 30. So let's trace the answer and see. We should be able to get a 3.2 as my final answer. Okay, do take note that it is fine to leave it as negative. Okay, but if the question rephrase and use the term deceleration already, then you can't include the negative. So these are the common tips, okay, or the tricks that the examiner like to do. Okay, so look for the keyword. If they say acceleration, then it is fine for you to use the negative sign. If they already told us that it is a deceleration right at the start, then you cannot include the negative. Okay, so this is one of the key things that they like to test lah. Okay, question 5. It looks a bit weird. But usually if they spend so much time on making the question looks hard, then the question itself won't be too hard. Okay. So triangle ABC, AB and BC is given. So immediately you should notice that this is actually a cosine rule question. Okay. So for cosine rule questions, optional whether you want to draw it or not. For me, I kind of like to visualize things. So whenever they gave me information like this, I will actually draw it out. Okay, go through the hassle and draw it out. It won't take much time here. And they want us for AC, which again, verified with my first assumption. It is actually about cosine rule. Okay, so AC is actually da, 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 b square root 3 minus 6 square plus b square root 3 plus 6 square again. And then we have negative 2 b square root 3 minus 6 b square root 3 plus 6 and a cosine 120. So first thing first, okay, although they say do not use calculator in this question, they are not going to stand next to you, each and every one here individually, to verify whether you use calculator or not. So some of the calculation, if you want to get it done with your calculator, you can. Okay, just have to do it the smart way. Okay, so you actually get 75 for the first part, and then okay, I wanted to skip the workings a little bit here. 30 square root 3 negative 30 square root 3 again, that makes it a 60, and then with a plus 36. Okay, so for those who wonder what's happening behind the scene, okay, please take note that you can't just square the values inside of it directly like this. You were supposed to manually calculate the whole thing, having this thing here, and expand each of them individually. So what I did earlier on was key in 5 square root 3 and I put answer squared. That's how I get to the 75. 30 square root 3, 30 square root 3, and the 36. So this is how the answer lah. Okay, how I get my results here. Okay, you have to go through the same thing again, this time around with a plus. So 75 plus 60 square root 3 plus 36. Okay, so for the last part here, it is slightly easier if you can recall the formula. This is a minus b, this is a plus b. Okay, do take note that they can be transformed into a square minus b square. So for me, I am going to use the formula here. Okay, and our cosine 120 turns out to be negative 1 over 2. Okay, and they want you to sort out the negative 1 over 2 with this right here. Negative negative becomes positive. Okay, so 75 plus 36 be 111 minus 60 square root 3. Again, another 111 plus 60 square root 3. And lastly, it will be a 75 minus 36. So these two would have cancelled off each other. 111 plus 111 plus 75 minus 36. The answer is 261 at the very end for your AC square. But do take note that they are asking you for AC. So 261 will still be square root. There won't be any plus minus here because AC is a length of the triangle. So key in your calculator, then you should be able to get your final results here. Okay, try to show as much workings as possible. Do not rely too much on your calculator when they specifically mention about it. Okay, in question B now, what are they asking? Oh, area. So area of triangle, okay, for some obvious reason, they they didn't mention right angle. Okay, means that I can't be using the half times base times height. So it's the alternative that we have here will be a times half times A times B times sine C. So in this case, PQ, okay, I'm gonna draw it out for you guys. Okay, 30, so make it more logical, something like this. Remember, it is not okay, it is not a right angle triangle. So half times 3 plus 2 square root 5 times B here, or in this case, it is QR times sine 30. It will result in the area of 2 plus 5 square root 5 over 4. So this will actually be the answer here. Okay, work it out. Sine 30 is 1 over 2. So I get 1 over 4 here by combining them up with a QR equals to 2 plus 5 square root 5, 4. So since both sides has 4, okay, before I continue, let you guys know the details first. 1 over 2 times 1 over 2 will becomes 1 over 4. That's why I didn't write the 1 over 2 there and sine 30 anymore. Since both sides has 4, it will be gone, and your QR will actually be 2 plus 5 square root 5 over 3 plus 2 square root 5. Okay, so to sort this out, okay, you are using the rationalization. Do take note that you can't have any square roots at the denominator. So this is what they expect from you here. You have to write it out. Okay, show them that you know how the formula works. Okay, by using the shortcut a squared minus b squared. Key in the details for them, and you have to expand the top part manually. So the 2 multiplied to the 3, then you get 4 square root 5, then you get 15 square root 5, then you get negative 10 times 5 is 50. Okay, so this will be the answer after you sort everything out. So I'm going to key in 3 squared is 9, 9 minus 4 times 5, minus 20. So negative 11 at the denominator. As for the numerator, you have 11 square root 5 and 6 minus 50, that will be negative 44. And apparently all of them is related to negative 11. So I can take it out by having this plus 4. Okay, so the negative 11 will now be cancelled, and all you have left is can be arranged in the structure that I wanted. It is 4 minus square root 5. Okay, so before I continue, a lot of students like to ask this. Over here, you see them using a positive D. So please take note that it is not necessary for you to make it into positive. Okay, so the more important part is actually the terms that they use at the back. Integers means that it will always be whole number. So if you wanted to write out the specific value, C will actually be 4 and D will be negative 1. Okay, so please do not contemplate yourself when they use the positive sign in here. Okay, it's just a way to make those students confused. Okay, moving on to question 6. Wow, we still have quite a lot. Okay, so they want us to show this cotangent plus tangent equals to secant here. So cotangent itself, what can I do? Let me think. Cotangent is actually 1 over tangent. 1 over tangent is cosine theta over sine theta plus sine theta over cos theta. Okay, this is the first step that I did. Okay, I'm surrounding those at the numerator. I changed the division into symbol, where 1 over sec is actually 1 over cos. Okay, to continue to solve this further, I rearrange them. making it like this so that I have cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta. Okay, each of them will be multiplied by their respective values. Okay, and when you multiply it with the things at the back, cosine theta will be transferred to the top, and cosine will be gone. Please take note that cosine square plus sine square will be 1. So 1 and 1 will also be gone. All you have left is 1 over sine. That would translate into the cosec that they wanted us to prove. Okay, pretty straightforward for 4 marks question. Wow, they're being generous here. Okay, so moving on to question B here. Very likely it is... Okay, moving on to question B. Very likely that it is interrelated with the previous question. Okay, but how? I'm not sure yet. So let's run some comparison. So in general, everything is the same except for the replacement of theta as empty set over 3. And another thing will be the square there. So you'll be writing it as cosec theta over 3, or in this case empty set over 3, but it will be squared here. Okay, so our cosec empty set over 3 will be square root plus minus 2, and 1 over sine empty set over 3 will be plus minus square root 2. When you rearrange them, plus minus square root 2 equals to sine empty set over 3. Okay, so 1 over square root 2, if you key in, okay, and rationalize it, optional for this step here, you will get a square root 2 over 2 with a plus minus at the side. Okay, so next thing that I'm going to do will not be keying the calculator for the answer. I will actually update the range first. Okay, 540 times 1 over 3 will be 180 and negative 180. Another thing that I force my student to do will be this, stating the exact range or the region that we can have our answer. So I'll draw this thing out, and before I continue, I will be splitting this into 2 parts. Okay, one of them is negative, one of them is positive. So let's have a look at the answer first. For the positive part, it will be surrounding the answer at the top. Okay, oh, there's something wrong with my Apple Pencil. Okay, no idea why. And for the other one, it is down here. Okay, so we can then proceed with our calculation now. Sine inverse, okay, square root 2 over 2. You must make sure that you're using the correct mode. Okay, it will be 45 here. Okay, the first answer is located here then. Okay, and the parts that you shaded are next to each other, which means this gap here will also be 45. But again, you always start from 0 all the way to this line, which means you have to do the manual calculation here. 180 minus 45, which is 135. So when you repeat the same thing here on your theta over 3, hey, empty set over 3, okay, the catch now is you have to key in the negative. Okay, so you do get the same results. Okay, it is negative 45, which means the next one will very likely be negative 135. Okay, and that's not it, because we are looking for empty set. Everything must be multiplied by 3. 45 times 3, you will get 135. 135 times 3, you will get 405. So this is how you find the full answer. And I notice the marks allocation here is quite high, which very likely in this type of situation we would involve the plus minus. Okay, if you only wrote positive, then your answer will be cut short. Okay, so this is the full details or the full workings for this type of question. So let me brief through the steps again. I reorganize and compare it with A. Once I done that, I get rid of the square. When you removing square, there will be plus minus. Okay, after restructuring everything, I update the range. Okay, I color code them so that I know which part correspond to which answer. For the A part, okay, it is all school, and then the bottom here is TC. So this is why I color coded them in red and blue differently. Okay, so we are done with question 6. Let me see what other question we have. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so it should be pretty quick now going forward. So a team of 8 people is to be chosen from 15 people. So I saw the keyword chosen, and what else makes me or helps me deciding whether to use permutation or combination will be the amount of information. They didn't give me enough context to consider this as a permutation, and the arrangement is not important here as well, because they just want us to randomly select 8 people out of the 15 option that we have. So 15C8 will be my answer. In this case, it is 6,435. Okay, the next situation here will be family of 4 people must be kept together. So this type of question, students usually fall for the trap. Okay, you must know that it's either all the family is in or all the family is not. That's how you justify whether they are together or not. So if all family is here, it means 4C4, all 4 of them, and you will left with 11 people to choose another 4 from them. Okay. Meanwhile, for the second scenario, it will be 11 people that was not the family, and you have to choosing 8 from them. So 11C8, okay, or 11C4 is how much? It's 330, and 11C8 is 165, and you add them up, you become 495. Okay, that's how you find the full answer here. Okay, so in section B, some of you that didn't do enough past year might not know how to get this done, okay? Because in your formula sheet at the second page, what they gave here is for NCR only. However, down below, here we are dealing with NPR. So NPR formula will be slightly different, okay? It is N10 equals to N factorial N minus R factorial. That's it. There's no extra R factorial at the back. Okay, this is the difference. So when you write it out, it will be N plus 9. Okay, meanwhile, things at the back here means I am dealing with N factorial N minus 10 factorial equals to N squared plus 243. And then you have N minus 1 factorial N minus 1 minus 9 factorial. Okay, so let's continue to see what should I do next. I'm not going to expand the brackets first because I noticed that they both share something in common, which is this n minus 10 factorial here. So I'm gonna prioritize and sort it out first, because down here you have an n minus 10 factorial. So cut them off, they are gone. Then the next thing that I notice is I only have to expand the n factorial once, because with this I will have the same thing again at the back. So I didn't even touch the values at the back because voila, they are gone again. So all I have left is this, and when I continue with my expansion, I should be able to get my answer now. So 9n will be 243. 243 divided by 9, my n is actually 27. Okay, so I didn't cut off the end. Do not assume this because they are not multiplication anymore. There's no brackets here. I actually shifted it to the front. So positive turns into negative. That's why it was being cancelled. Okay, so please take note when there's plus minus in between the values, you can't cancel them off unless it's like all this at the top here where the relationship is multiplication. Okay, so don't mix up your concept here. Moving on, we have question 8. They want us to do our differentiation. Okay, so dy dx for this question, okay, for me, I like to write the workings at the side. Okay, if you follow a different way, you can do so. The numerator here will be treated as ux. Denominator is 2x plus 1. The next thing that I have here is a chain rule. Okay, or I like to call it a bracket rule. Okay, so whatever that was inside the bracket will remain unchanged, but the power will be minus by 1, and you transfer the power out first. One thing that students always forget is the need of differentiating the values inside. You will get a 3. Okay, inside means the brackets over here. Okay, so 3 and 3 would have cancelled this, and all I have left is 3x minus 4 to the power of negative 2 over 3. Your v prime, however, will be a basic 2, and that's it. Okay, so let me change up the color, and then we have a look at the question here. So inner minus outer layer. So I have a 2x plus 1 multiplied with 3x minus 4 to the power of negative 2 over 3. In between the values, they are minusing against each other. So 3x minus 4 to the power of 1 over 3. And your v prime will be 2x plus 1 squared. Okay. Because they want us to arrange in the structure that they requested, this will be slightly more troublesome. So I'm gonna leave it like this, getting rid of the denominator by bringing it down. And then I have 3x minus 4, 1 over 3. Okay, please take note that I replaced the fraction sign again with symbols, and then I wrote it like this. I wrote a numerator of 1 because I'm going to change it upside down shortly with replacing the symbols. Okay, so I get multiplied with 1, 2x plus 1 squared. So I'm very close to the answer that I wanted already. Okay, here comes the catch here. So this, again, is not the first time they're testing you on this concept. It is actually your indices assessment, but with a twist. Okay, they want you to make them share the same denominator. So when you multiply this same thing to the numerator, okay, the power that you have here will be added up. It is like you dealing with 1 over 3 times x, 2 over 3. The x here is actually the 3x minus 4. Okay, so if you look closely enough, you will know that it is 3 over 3, which is 1. Okay, so numerator will be 2x plus 1 minus 2, 3x minus 4. There's no more power here because it is 3 over 3, and your denominator is exactly what they requested by at the start. Okay, so I'm going to update and combine them up. So 3x minus 4 to the power of 2 over 3, and then 2x plus 1 to the power of 2. Okay, whether you want to follow exactly, if you were to follow exactly, then I will be shifting this to the back, reorganize them, take out the 2 here. Okay, so one last step, which is to expand the brackets. Do not miss out on the negative. Okay, because you will get 2x plus 1 minus 6x plus 8. Okay, I'm a bit lazy now. I'm going to duplicate this and update my answer on the site. Okay, every time I do this, there was always funny comment in during my online class. They always laugh. They say they wish to do this during the exam as well. Okay, so let me change the things up. Erase all this. I get a negative 4x followed by a 9. Okay, so the a here is your negative 4, and then your 9 here is the b. Okay, so they wanted the x to be the front, that's why I rearrange it this way. Okay, so stationary point is something very straightforward. It means that your dy dx is equals to 0. The amount of working is also justified by the marks here. Okay, this time they are trying to be reasonable. So 4x plus 9 and whatever that you have down there will be copied out and equate it into 0. Okay, so whatever that you have at the denominator will be gone because when you multiply it with 0. So 9 equals to 4x, x will be 9 over 4. I will have to substitute it into the equation. So when x equals to 9 over 4, our y equals to 9 over 4 minus 4 to the power of 1 over 3. And then I have a denominator of 9 over 4 plus 1. So I have to key in this correctly to your calculator. Then you should be able to get your answer now. So 9 over 4 minus 4 to the power of 1 over 3. Down below we have 9 over 4 plus 1. So since they didn't mention, it must be exact results. So you'll be able to use this values that you calculated here and round it up to 3 significant figures. So the coordinates here will be 9 over 4, and 9 over 4 also equals to 2.25. Okay, so optional which one you want to write, but the y coordinates I will write them as the same, which is 255 here. Okay, this will be my final answer for this question here. So we only have 3 more questions. Okay, then we are done. Okay, let's have a look at question 9 now. They say the first 3 terms of arithmetic progression are learn Q, learn Q4, and learn Q7. So Q is a positive constant. Find the sum to n. Okay, so first thing first, arithmetic progression. So A will be the U1 that they mentioned here. And the D will be learn Q4 minus learn Q. They're testing you on your logarithm concept here. So please take note that it will be a division where it results in Q cubed. Okay, this is for A and D. And your sum to n term is 4, 8, 4, 5 learn Q, half of n. Okay, I'm trying to memorize the formula. Okay, if you know or you've forgotten, you can refer it to the front. Okay, as per usual, I will still check because I can't trust myself as well. So do. Okay, correct. Not bad. I can still remember. Okay, so I have n over 2 now. I have learn q square plus, okay, maybe not learn q square first. I try to readjust the values and see what I can do. Try to keep everything as simple as possible. Okay, And then I have 4845 learn Q. So I don't want the n to be here. So I brought it up. Okay, because they are plus means they will be multiplied together using an indices concept. 4845 times 2 will actually be 9690Q. And if I continue with this, I will get 2 plus 3n minus 3 with an n outside. Okay, I think we're very close to the answer already. I can find the value of n, almost. Okay, with this information, I will now transfer the n up so that I can get n 3n minus 1 equals to 19690. So learn Q and learn Q is gone. You got 3n squared minus n equals to 9690. 3n squared minus 9 minus 9690 equals to 0. Here will be a quadratic again. Okay, apparently this examiner here like to test students on quadratic. So the n that I get was 2 of them. So n is actually 57, and n can also be negative 170 over 3. Okay, n minus 57 is the first bracket, 3n plus 170 is the second. So this one is the only one. Here will be invalid. Reason behind is that n term can never be decimals and negative. So this one here is invalid. Okay, so this is how you solve question 9a. And moving on to question 9b, geometric progression. So your u or your a is actually p3x. This time around we are using r now, so I'm going to take u2 over u1. We have px over p3x. It should be p negative 2x here. Okay, and they want us to find n terms of the progression. So it's just a un. Un is arn minus 1. Okay, it's arn minus 1. So our a here is p3x. Wow, they keep on testing me on indices. My brain is cracking right now. So p negative 2x, and then with an n minus 1 outside at the power section. So since they are the same, please take note that it will be multiplied in like this, and 3x plus negative 2x and minus or plus 2x now. So all of them you can combine into 5x minus 2x n, and when you take out x from them, you get 5 minus 2n as your final answer. Okay, or at least this is what I'm going to write lah. Okay, so again the same thing, questions students that gonna ask will be here. They say, oh, it's a positive. Okay, it doesn't matter, you can still stick with your answer here. Okay, section C, a different geometric progression. Okay, now it's even worse, sum to infinity. Okay, so again, I'm going to write down the a first. Our a here is 4 over 3 cosine squared 3 theta. Our r is actually the same thing, but u2, u1. u2 here 16 over 9 cos 4 3 theta. u1 is 4 over 3 cos square 3 theta. Okay, so I know there will be a cosine square 3 theta for sure. And for the rest of the calculation, you just have to key in 16 over 9 and divide it with 4 over 3. So you get 4 over 3 as well. Okay, so a and r is done. Sum to infinity, there's one thing that they like to test. Okay, and they always test you on this. Okay, you must know that your modulus of r must be less than 1. Okay, so with this fact, I'm going to write it down. Modulus of r must be lesser than 1. Okay. Find the value of theta for which the progression has a sum to infinity. Okay, so I will have to try to force myself to calculate this. Okay, I'm going to modulus this and make it equals to 1. Okay, at this stage, what you're going to do next is to get rid of the modulus. To get it done means you have to square both sides again. Okay, and in this square both sides process, okay, I'm going to get 16 over 9 cos 4 3 theta lesser than 1. Okay, so going forward, I won't go and write the inequalities anymore. I'll just replace it as 0 first because I'm trying to find the critical value. So 1 divided by 16 over 9, you get 9 over 16. And when you replace and remove the power of 4 here, I will have to change this into 4 and key in 9 over 16. So I get square root 3 over 2. Please remember, because of the power is a even number, there will be a plus minus here. Another things that is going to change or apply to this question will be the update of the range. Range was originally this. And because of it being multiplied by 3, it will become pi to 0. Okay, so it's only answer from here to here. To find the answer, there's one extra steps that I would do is to split the things up. Okay, then key in your final results. Square root 3 over 2, you will get pi over 6 as your first answer. Okay, when there's a negative here, it will be 5 over 6 pi. So the answer are respectively here and here. Okay, so draw it out. Pi over 6. Draw it out. This is 5 over 6 pi. Okay, so theta final answer will be pi over 6 divided by 2 pi over 6 divided by 3, I get pi over 18, and 5 over 18 pi. Okay, so they wanted it to be lesser than 1. Okay, so it's an even graph, pause, even number powered graph. 5 over 18 pi over 18, so it will be in between this range here. So 5 over 18 pi and pi over 18. Okay, because lesser than 1 means they wanted it to be down below. Okay, so this will be my final answer for sum to infinity. Okay, going on to question 10, they want us to differentiate this. Your ux is 3x plus 1 to the power of 2. Your Vx is learn 3x plus 1. Your U prime will be 2. 3x plus 1 times 3. Your V prime will be 3x plus 1 over 3. So dy dx in this case will be the inner part where you have 6 3x plus 1 learn 3x plus 1. Okay, adding up with the outer layer. Okay, where it can be further simplified, and you should be getting 6 3x plus 1 learn 3x plus 1 plus 9x plus 3. Okay, so this will be my answer here. And for section B, very likely we are supposed to use our part A's results. So if I ever differentiate or integrate here, this whole thing, I will get back to my original equation of 3x plus 1 square learn 3x plus 1. Why did I do this? It's because I noticed that the part that they wanted is in this findings that I have previously. So if I were to split it up into this, I'm able to fulfill and find the question. So I get 9x plus 3. Okay, I group this up and integrate them. Okay, take out the 6, then you'll be able to find the results that they wanted. And I copy it back, minus a 9x minus 3. So the whole thing will be divided by 6 now to get to the answers that they wanted. So there's a 1 over 6 in front of the whole findings that you have at the back. So our 9x will turn into x squared 9 over 2. And then another negative 3x. And that will be it for our final answer. Okay, if you decided to multiply the 6 into each and every one of them, you can. So you will have a different or slightly organized results, showing you a results of negative 9 over 2 times 1 over 6. It will be negative 3 over 4x squared. Negative 3 times 1 over 6, you will get negative x over 2. And also a plus c because you're doing the integration. Okay, so that's it for this question set of paper here. Okay, question that I think is slightly challenging or troublesome will actually be this question 9. Okay, that's the one that I find the hardest. Okay, some students might struggle with 10b. Okay, but if you do enough practice or you went through the whole concept multiple times, then you will get the idea what they are trying to test you here. So question 9 is the hardest in my opinion. 7b students will have trouble. 10b students will have trouble. The rest, however, is pretty straightforward. Okay, nothing too fancy. 6b also. So let me recap again. 6b and then 7b, question 9, and 10b is the hardest question in this paper. So feel free to give it a try. Okay, print it out, redo it, and let me know if you have any question down in the comment section. So I wish you all the best in your exam. Good luck, guys. Bye.